Hey everybody, it is day 20 of Advent season and I am out here in this big field because I want to talk about being a shepherd. But this field doesn't have any sheep in it, but fields are where you would put sheep, so I thought it'd be appropriate to be out here. The song that you're hearing in the background is my arrangement of a piece from Handel's Messiah. And that piece is called "He Shall Feed His Flock Like a Shepherd." And I did an arrangement of it and titled it, "And He Shall Feed His Flock." I am a huge admirer of George Friedrich Handel, who composed the Messiah. And it might be easy to say, well, the reason you're a big fan of his is because he did a lot of religious work, but it's actually because the dude had some serious determination and tenacity, and I love him. So George Friedrich Handel learned how to play the piano, learned how to play the violin, and mastered them by the time he was 11 years old. And he was determined to become a professional musician, but his father said, "Nuh-uh, dude, you're gonna be a lawyer." And Handel said, "Okay, I'll be a lawyer." And he decided to do that. And when he was 18, he finally said, "Screw that, I want to be a musician." So he went and he became a professional composer, and he started working in opera and writing a lot of opera. Now, the unfortunate thing is that opera as a style at the time began to die out, and it became very expensive to write operas because you had to have major sets and all of the costumes for the players, for the singers, and it became extremely expensive. So Handel's opera company went bankrupt, and long about that time he decided to start writing oratorios. Now, oratorios are basically religious operas, but they're cheaper because you don't need all of the sets, you don't need costumes, you just need the choir and the vocalist to sing, and you just need the instrument players. So he started writing religious operas, oratorios, and he wrote the Messiah. Now, the Messiah was written in 24 days. It's a 3-act oratorio. The first act covers the prophecy about the Messiah to his birth. The second act covers the crucifixion of the Messiah. And then the third act covers the work of the Messiah following the crucifixion to the end of the book of Revelation. And mostly at Christmas, we hear the first part of the Messiah. We hear those excerpts, and we don't hear any of the other stuff, which is frankly awesome. And if you can ever hear a full, complete recording of the Messiah or go see the full, complete Messiah, I recommend doing it. It is a great experience. Handel is also a hero of mine because he is the predecessor to what I do as a composer. Handel composed emotional music to tell a story. And if you compose for film or television, as I do, that's your job. Your job is to write emotional music that tells a story, or helps tell a story at least, or assists in telling the story. So Handel's one of my heroes because he kind of laid the groundwork for me. And if you go to see Star Wars and you hear John Williams' wonderful work in that film, you will be hearing some of the effects of Handel's work. And so I'm going to analyze the piece that I did on Songs for Christmas Eve, this "And He Shall Feed His Flock." I'm going to analyze why I did it that way as a composer. So Handel took the passage, "He shall feed his flock like a shepherd." And that is a passage which speaks about the Messiah not coming as a great warrior king to destroy the enemies, to save his people here victoriously on earth, although that is part of his plan. It talks about the Messiah being this meek and lowly shepherd that does absolutely nothing but care for his sheep, his flock, which means that he puts them in pastures where they can eat good food. He takes them to water where they can drink good water. He protects them from wolves and lions and tigers and bears, oh my. And that is who the prophecy of the Messiah refers to the Messiah as. He's a warrior king, but he's also a kind and gentle shepherd who cares for his sheep. And Handel takes that piece, and he shall feed his flock like a shepherd. And he takes those words and he sets them in this musical setting that is peaceful and calm and slow. It's almost a lullaby. And I love that. I love the concept of that. For all of us who suffer from having anxiety, or we're busy at this time of year at Christmas, or we're worried about the future, it's so interesting to think about the fact that there might be a person in the universe whose goal is to bring you peace and to care for you, and to do it in such a way that you should feel like you're a sheep out here in this field, calm, not having to worry about anything. So I took that melody that he wrote and I arranged it for handbells, harp, and a pan flute. And the reason I did that was because I imagined a shepherd sitting out in a field all by himself, and he's bored, and he picks up his recorder and he plays this piece while he's watching his sheep. Now we also know that King David, the Jewish king, was a musician and a shepherd, and he played the harp and the lyre and wrote many of the psalms that are found in the Jewish Torah. And so it is appropriate to have a harp in there as well. But I just wanted to take a moment, talk about my hero, George Friedrich Handel, his determination. You know, he was bankrupt with his operas. He went into writing oratorios, and he died a very wealthy man. And you know, one of the beautiful things about the Messiah is the first ever performance of it was a charity performance. All of the money from the performance went to pay for debtors' prisons. And so they were able to release, get this, they released 142 prisoners from the debtors' prison with the money they raised from the first performance of the Messiah. And I can't think of anything more beautiful and any allegory more beautiful than that to describe what the Messiah came for, to release people from their bondage and to restore them to being his people and to being fed as a shepherd feeds his flocks. So I hope you enjoy the piece, and he shall feed his flocks. Go check out Songs for Christmas Eve, and have a Merry Christmas, everybody.